Hello, I'm Nicolina. Welcome to another episode of The Entrepreneur's Mind, where we make sure that those of us who are naturally a bit more quiet or gentle or sensitive achieve the same levels of, fulfillment, success, recognition, impact, whatever it is that we are desired with our soul-aligned work, than those who find it naturally maybe easier to, work in a straight line from A to B, or find it easier to be loud and very seen and acknowledged in the world. And today I want to revisit decision making. So I did, I think, a little video before on that. And today I'm just going to share with you another tool that I found very useful after I almost, accidentally on the spot came up with it when my mother couldn't decide on towel racks for the new bathroom. And, she went back and forth. I was thinking, we need to answer this. And it's not it's not new. Like, I've picked it up from somewhere else, but I don't actually know where, because I think it's around in different forms from different teachers, and possibly I put my own little spin on it. So I just share it as, I know it now and I use it. And that is basically, always to, use more of your feelings to make decisions, but with the extra help of, associations and words. And I'm just going to talk it through with two different examples, so that you then can apply it to wherever you might need it for. Ideally, you're trying to make a decision between maybe two, maximum three options. If there are more options, I would say see if you can narrow it down already just by tuning and feeling out, or if it's a decision that requires a lot of outside information, which of course also sometimes can happen. Do that. I always find, ultimately we get stuck at the very end when we only have those two or three options left, and not usually when there's still 5 or 10, because then we're almost overwhelmed and we just say, okay, that or that not. And actually that's something you might see it for yourself. Why do you find it so easy to exclude so many things and then you get hung up at the end? I have my own theory about that, just because that's when the self-doubt kicks in and we just don't trust that we actually know what the right decision is. But that's an aside. So today, like I said, I do give you a tool so you can get to the nitty and gritty at the end. I only have examples with two options, but you can easily see how you could include a third option if you have that. And the first thing is, I want you to imagine you have these options. And like I said, the first thing I'm going to talk it through is those towel racks for the new bathroom. So it's very practical, something in the house, which possibly you often have to do these decisions. And the question is, how easy do you move through them? So the situation was that they were two very similar towel racks. One, that's already the exercise I'm about to describe it. In different styles. And there was not one better than the other. It was simply a matter of style and taste. And like I said, to make it easier, so what did we do? We say, okay, this is option one. Let's call it, one was more round and one was more had more corners, so the round one. And then I was, okay, and now just free associate some words with it. Don't even think about, feelings or anything, just nouns, maybe, adjectives which are not directly feelings. I mean, a few feelings are great as well, but I also definitely see with some others, same with verbs. So what was it? It was we came up with, it's round, warm, beige. I think if you can find a color or cluster of colors, always great. Elegant, classy. I don't even know. Let me think. See if I had understated and familiar. I think were two others. I actually wrote a few down. Comfortable as well. So that was the round towel rack, right? And then we were like, okay, so what about a bit more squarey one? And immediately my mother was like, yeah, it's more modern, it's slick, it's grey, it's smooth, metal. Industrial, so I helped her a little bit later on. What else? Did I say cold? Speedy. So we had, the one, and you can already possibly get a sense while describing them that they actually come with a very different feeling or sensations they get triggered in your body. So one, let's recap, was something like classic, elegant, round, beige, warm, familiar, something like that. And the other one was, modern, slick, grey, metal, corners, speed. Now, you can already see how that is giving you a very different feeling, right? So we came up with associations, and then the next step is, okay, so how do I feel? And for me, obviously, with one, I don't know if I mentioned cozy. The one was, for me, was just, it was cozy, kind of snuggly, made me feel a bit like a fireplace. Actually, I didn't even go there. Yeah, fireplace would be another great noun to associate. Snuggly, yeah, basically, no, that's the feeling I was getting, right? And the other one was just, yeah, I liked it too, because it was stylish, and you see I'm just coming up with more words, stylish, modern, and how else? How did it make me feel? A bit more on it, like the one was more like retreated, and you can see in my body I had a bit more of a reaction, like snuggling up, and the other one was a bit more, let's get ready quickly in the morning or something. And so that were the two feelings that we explored. And then we looked at what is the overall, what do we want overall in that bathroom in terms of, style and feel, and how do we want, really how do we want to feel? But my mother can't do feelings very well. So we stayed very much with, I mean, she can, but she just can't as easily express them. So for her, it was much more, okay, what style is my bathroom and what's the function of it? And then comparing that to, which towel rack suited that overall mood or style, function, feeling, whatever works for you, better than the other. And honestly, I don't even remember which one she picked in the end. I think it was a classic one, but you can see that, both of them were absolutely right. Of course, she had, already checked like prices were similar and, how you can get them delivered and installed. And like I said, sometimes we have to do all that checking and outside information first. And it was literally just, which one do I want? Which one do I prefer? And that helped her then to make a decision. Now, I was thinking, let's talk this through with another example. At work, often, of course, projects I find can be one where we're like, ooh, which one, shall I do? Shall I do first? Who shall I work with? And so ever this bathroom episode, actually, I'm using this for myself or with others. And this is another example that came up with someone was, I think there were originally 3 projects, but again, I'm just going to talk through with 2. So one was doing more writing for a particular outlet, or I think it was a type of outlet, a particular type of magazines or something. And the other one was collaborating on a podcast with another person. And we did exactly the same thing. Okay, we said, okay, these are the 2 options. Now let's associate. And again, I need to peek on my little paper because I don't remember exactly what it was for the person, but I think one was more, the podcast was more fluid, new, spring, colorful, bouncy, collaboration, vibrant, open. The other one was more like focused, quiet, knowledge, still activity, calm colors, familiar, solitary. I think they put confident as well, which again is a feeling, but a few of them are fine. And that's also interesting that you had 2 negative things like boring and tedious, I think, or repetitive. No, boring, I think, and that's the thing. If you come up with negative associations, like, for example, oh, it's boring, that can already be a great indicator, of course, like which one you actually are tending towards. If you, in the example before, if you would have said, oh, one is a bit ugly, or I don't know, like it depends on, like even something like cold and warm could be negative, positive, depends on you. But let's stick with this one. So we had boring, and actually we turned it into a more neutral, positive one, which was repetitive, because that's where the boring came from. And then we had, I think, tedious, which became responsible. Because again, neither of these projects was wrong. Getting, again, in a moment to, comparing it to your overall goal. But it was literally just, what we associate with. And if you have something very negative, notice it or see if you can transform it into something, remodel it into something more neutral. So again, you can see 2 projects, 2 very different feelings. Like I said, the third step is, again, maybe reading through the list, getting the sense. So in this case, again, one was more colorful and you can feel open and playful almost. I think that I threw that in there. Spring came up and collaboration. The other one was more, still focused, repetitive, responsible, solitary. Now, the interesting thing with this one was that after this exercise, the person was like, oh, definitely I have to go with a podcast because that's, again, it's more exciting and uplifting and upbeat. Not uplifting, upbeat. But the other project also was really important, and they realized that this is also something they don't ultimately want to check out. It was more something that wasn't right at this moment because they were already, this was, during COVID, it was already something, they were doing a lot of these kind of activities, and they wanted, they liked the idea of collaborating and getting input from someone else and having more this bouncing out of ideas, whereas, they had enough already in solitary or like the tasks just for themselves. What we also realized, like I said, we had already checked that both, could create a kind of impact and get, help them to communicate the things they wanted to communicate via the right channels. But it was just clear, so they just put the writing on hold or moved it back maybe to the next time they have to decide which project to take on, out of timing, because they realized that when they worked through it, that actually these are pretty great qualities of a project to have, to be like, maybe more quiet, and even the repetitiveness. And they also said I think they had deep, so you can get more deep than with the other one, and it was more calming. And sometimes that's what we want. Especially, I think this was an introverted person, but especially, for all of us, but especially if you're more introverted, of course, we really often crave these kind of activities, which calm us right down, which we can do on our own in our little rooms or big rooms, and, which have this kind of quality of this project, which you hopefully felt when I read through the words, because we naturally associate, feelings and body ways of holding our bodies and sensations with these words, and also the fact that it felt more focused, and they could see that it was a really good thing to bring back in when they have too many, which require them connect and be more present with others, and get too many ideas. Again, as an introvert, often we're overwhelmed by too many ideas, and you can have too many on your own or with another person, but too much collaboration wouldn't have been great for them either. So again, they said, I'm not going to write this off, but I might come back to it at another time, which I thought was really beautiful, because again, it shows you that not, in this case, one wasn't better than the other. It was simply a matter of, okay, which one do I want to do? I think it was in the other video, wasn't it, that I shared about, of course, you also have to check the parameters about, like I said, the extra information, which, especially when we're talking work, of course, sometimes the question is, how is it affecting other people? Kind of all the rational thinking. Like I said, I'm assuming that at this stage you've already done it, and that you kind of just can't get what we often call to the gut feeling, to the, okay, let's just do this. Because, the potential results or outcomes are so similar, that it almost doesn't matter which one. Well, it does matter which one you choose, but again, it's not so much about clients, stakeholders, or anyone. It's simply for you to choose which one is better aligned with where you are right now or what you're wanting to make happen. So I hope that gave you a good idea. Just to recap, so make sure you're already at the point where you narrowed it down to maximum 2 or 3 options. Again, if you have more, see if there's either because of the rational, going through them, if there you can rule out more, or maybe you do exactly the same exercise, but you have to do kind of 2 rounds, like first decide between those, and then, the one you chose out of those 1 or 2 you compare to another one. And then you free associate words, like I said, if you can have nouns that are completely feel like they have nothing to do with project or your towel rack or whatever, your meal, whatever you're deciding on, even better, because that's just what words do. They have their own little worlds that get evoked in us when we speak them or when we think of them. So you make a little list of different words, and just be aware while you're doing it what it evokes in you and how it makes you feel. And what other associations coming up? You saw when I read through them that immediately, other words came to me because they were coming maybe from a similar direction or cluster of ideas and feelings and words. And then, once you've done that, you can read through it again. Hopefully you have that gained the better understanding and feeling around this issue. And with that, then you can make the decision. Sometimes, again, like in the case of the bathroom, you have to compare it again to your bigger picture or bigger goal. Same as a project. Maybe you have to check, how does it connect to my overall aims, goals, strategy, or whatever it is. How does the feeling I'm getting from these different projects in relation to where I'm going overall connect? But sometimes you don't even need that. Especially think about what you want to eat. You hopefully don't need to do this whole process, but sometimes you can just decide because it doesn't actually matter. But sometimes you need to compare it to the bigger picture, and then you make the decision. Either you make the decision once you already know how you feel, or you just do that extra step. So make sure you have not too many options, associate the words, keep going through the list until you really have a good sense of the feeling they create in you, and decide, or compare it to the bigger picture and then decide. So I hope you find it helpful. As always, would love you to like and subscribe if you like it, but also, comment if there's anything you liked in particular or you wanted me to talk about something else. As always, I'll also put links, how you can connect with me, be it via social media or get onto my email list or something. There be in the comments. And with that, I guess until next time, bye bye.